Jovic collapses. Eala has just pulled off the biggest upset in French Open history. Those words exploded across social media within minutes. Fans inside Paris were screaming. Commentators sounded completely shocked. And millions of tennis fans around the world could barely believe what they were watching because nobody expected this. Nobody thought Eala, the young rising star from the Philippines, could survive against one of the tournament's strongest favorites. But what happened on that court changed everything. The atmosphere inside the French Open felt electric from the very beginning. The stadium was packed. Cameras flashed everywhere. Fans waited nervously for the first serve. Most people believed they already knew how this story would end. Jovic entered the match with complete confidence, powerful, experienced, and fully expected to dominate from the opening game. Every movement during warm-ups carried the certainty of a player who had already decided the outcome before a single ball was struck. And then there was Alex. She walked onto that court carrying something far more dangerous than confidence. Belief. Her eyes were calm. Her body was focused. There was no panic, no fear, just quiet, unshakable determination. Many people assumed the pressure would eventually crush her. After all, this was one of the biggest stages in world tennis. The lights were brighter. The pressure was heavier. The entire world was watching. But instead, the exact opposite happened. From the very first rallies, Alex began matching Jovic point for point. Every return grew sharper. Every movement grew faster. Every moment grew more intense. The crowd slowly started responding, first with polite applause after clean winners, then louder cheers after brilliant exchanges, then complete disbelief as the quality of her play kept rising rather than fading. And then the impossible started happening. Jovic began making mistakes. Simple shots suddenly missed the lines. Easy points disappeared into the net. Frustration crept onto her face. The crowd noticed immediately. Something was wrong. Meanwhile, Alex looked stronger with every single game. Her confidence kept growing. Her energy kept rising. And gradually, the entire atmosphere inside Paris shifted. Fans who had arrived to support the favorite suddenly found themselves cheering for the underdog. People rose from their seats. Phones came out to record every moment because deep down, everyone could feel history approaching. Paris was beginning to believe they were witnessing something unforgettable. And they were right. As the match continued, the pressure became almost unbearable. Every point carried enormous weight. Every rally felt heavier than the last. And somehow, Eala kept rising higher. Most young players come apart on stages like the French Open. The crowd noise, the cameras, the crushing expectations, all of it can destroy confidence within seconds. But Alex looked completely different. She played with courage, with intelligence, with heart. Even after losing difficult points, she reset immediately, calm, focused, locked in. Her footwork was relentless. She chased down every ball as though the match meant everything to her. Her forehand landed with conviction. Every return created pressure. And every time Jovic tried to wrestle control back, Alex answered without hesitation. When Jovic attacked aggressively, Alex responded with fearless shot-making. When the rallies turned into brutal physical exchanges, Alex refused to slow down. The tension inside the arena kept building with every game. Even the commentators began sounding genuinely stunned because nobody had predicted Alex would compete at this level against such a dangerous opponent. But perhaps the most shocking development of all was happening on the other side of the net. Jovic was losing herself emotionally. The frustration was building visibly after every missed opportunity. Simple mistakes became more frequent. Her reactions after losing points grew sharper and more agitated. The pressure was becoming too much. The panic was starting to show. And Alex noticed every single moment of it. That was when everything changed. Instead of backing down, she attacked even harder. Every powerful return pushed Jovic closer to collapse. Every clean winner tightened the pressure inside the stadium. And suddenly, what had seemed impossible began to feel almost inevitable. The crowd was now fully behind Eala. Fans stood from their seats and cheered after every incredible point. People could sense history unfolding right before their eyes. And deep down, Jovic knew it too, because the favorite was no longer in control. The fearless underdog had completely taken over the match. Then came the moment that changed everything. The tension inside the stadium was almost suffocating. Nobody was sitting comfortably. Fans leaned forward. Commentators lowered their voices. Even the players looked emotionally drained from the extraordinary intensity of the battle. And then one rally changed the entire match. A brutal exchange erupted across the court. Both players fought desperately for control. The ball traveled from one end to the other at breathtaking speed. Neither player was willing to surrender the point. Jovic attacked first with a powerful forehand. Alex tracked it down and fired back. Then another shot. Then another. The exchange kept going, longer and more dramatic with every stroke. The stadium went completely silent. Nobody wanted to blink. Everyone understood they were watching a defining moment. And then Eala delivered an unbelievable winner straight down the line. The shot was perfect, fast, precise, utterly untouchable. For one full second, the entire stadium froze. Then Paris exploded. Fans leapt from their seats screaming. The commentators completely lost composure. And in that moment, everyone inside that arena understood the same thing at exactly the same time. Jovic was collapsing. Her body language transformed completely. The confidence she had carried at the start of the match was gone. Her movements became tense and hesitant. Her reactions grew increasingly emotional. Mistakes multiplied rapidly. Simple shots missed. Easy opportunities vanished. The collapse was no longer something that could be denied or explained away. And Alex was absolutely unstoppable. The young Filipino star was now playing the finest tennis of her career at the exact moment it mattered most. Every shot carried conviction. Every movement radiated belief. Every celebration sent fresh energy surging through the crowd. And every single point brought her closer to one of the greatest upsets the French Open had ever witnessed. Social media erupted in real time. Fans around the world posted clips within seconds of each point. People could not believe what they were watching. Some called it the birth of a new superstar. Others called it the most stunning collapse the tournament had seen in years. But one thing had become absolutely clear. Eala was no longer just a promising young player. She was becoming a global sensation, right before the entire world's eyes, and deep inside that stadium in Paris, history was beginning to unfold. The pressure had become almost unbearable. Every second felt heavier. Every point felt historic. One final push stood between Eala and something the sport would never forget. The atmosphere inside the French Open had completely transformed. What began as a routine professional tennis match had turned into one of the most dramatic afternoons the tournament had witnessed in years. The crowd felt the tension everywhere. Phones recorded from every angle. Fans stood nervously. Some covered their faces in disbelief. Others shouted Alex's name after every single point. Nobody wanted to miss the ending, because deep down, everyone knew they were watching something extraordinary. And then came the composure that separated her from everyone else. Despite the weight of the moment, Alex stayed completely calm. That was perhaps the most remarkable part of the entire performance. Most young players panic in situations like this. Most players tighten under the awareness of the entire world watching. But Alex looked fearless, focused, and utterly determined. Point after point, she kept attacking with conviction. Her movement stayed sharp. Her energy never dropped. Every return pushed Jovic deeper into frustration and further from any path back into the match. Meanwhile, Jovic looked emotionally spent. The collapse had become impossible to ignore or explain away. Her confidence was gone. Her body language revealed the full weight of the pressure crushing her. Every mistake made the atmosphere louder. And Alex could feel victory drawing closer with every single exchange. The stadium was shaking with emotion. Fans screamed after every rally. Commentators could barely contain themselves. And then the moment finally arrived. One last exchange. One last shot. Eala won the final point. The stadium came apart. Paris erupted in absolute chaos. Fans screamed with disbelief and pure joy. Some leapt from their seats. Others held their heads in their hands. The commentators shouted over the roaring crowd as history unfolded in real time in front of them. And Alex herself stood in the middle of all of it, overwhelmed with emotion, tears forming in her eyes, because even she could barely process what she had just done. One of the biggest upsets in French Open history was complete. A 19-year-old from the Philippines had walked into Paris carrying nothing but belief and walked out having shocked the entire tennis world. Under the bright lights of Roland Garros, on that afternoon in Paris, the French Open belonged to Alex Eala. The tennis world is now asking one enormous question. Is this the beginning of something truly legendary? Because moments like this one do not simply win matches, they change careers forever. One unforgettable performance can completely alter the trajectory of an athlete's life. And after what happened in Paris, Alex's name is being discussed in every corner of the globe. She is no longer just a talented young player with potential. The entire tennis world is paying attention now. Fans are talking about her everywhere. Social media continues to overflow with reactions, clips, and emotional celebrations. Analysts are already predicting a remarkable future ahead for the young Filipino star. Some are calling this the moment that officially introduced Alex Eala to the world stage. And it is easy to understand why. Because true stars are not born in easy victories. They are born in moments of crushing pressure, moments when nobody believes in them, when every prediction says they will fail, when the weight of expectation is heavy enough to break anyone. Alex Eala faced every single one of those conditions in Paris. And instead of collapsing, she grew stronger. She stayed calm. She stayed fearless. And she shocked the world. For Jovic, this defeat will be one of the most painful chapters of her career. Collapses like this leave marks that professional sport never allows to fully disappear. The pressure, the missed opportunities, the moment control slipped away, those memories replay long after the tournament ends. The sport remembers everything. But for Alex Eala, this may only be the beginning. A young underdog walked into the French Open with nothing to lose and walked out as one of the most talked about stories in world tennis. Millions of fans are now watching to see what comes next. Can she continue this extraordinary rise? Can she become one of the defining faces of women's tennis for the next generation? Nobody knows the full answer yet. But one thing became absolutely clear on that afternoon in Paris. Alex Eala is no longer a rising prospect quietly building toward her moment. She is becoming a global force, right before the entire world's eyes. And if this performance proved anything at all, it is this. Her rise is no longer something happening in the background. It is loud. It is real. And it is impossible to stop.